Right, Bree, thanks for that update. Well, tonight, it's not just teachers and bus drivers that Florida schools are having a tough time holding on to.
But also over the past 3 years, more than half of Florida's superintendents have also left their jobs. Southwest Florida schools, no exception. Just in the past 6 months, our region's 3 largest districts had big changes to superintendent roles, either proposed or enacted. Lee County leaders moved to make the superintendent position an elected one for the first time since 1974. That's when a motion was approved to make this an appointed position.
And then in Collier County, school board members suddenly and then surprisingly voted to go ahead and remove their superintendent in December ahead of her retirement.
And Charlotte County Superintendent Steve Dionisio has announced that he will leave that job at the end of the school year.
But now the State Superintendent Association says this shuffle is reaching unprecedented levels.
Fox 4 Investigates' Katie LaGrone spoke with insiders, including a former Florida superintendent, who explains why politics likely having that lasting impact on school leadership.
Broward County, Orange, Sarasota, Collier, these are just a few of the Florida school districts who have lost their superintendents in just the past 6 months. In fact, according to Florida's Association of School District Superintendents, over the past 3 years, more than 40 of Florida's 67 superintendents have left their posts as boss on campus.
We have had a rather historical turnover.
Bill Montford, a former state senator and school superintendent, now leads the state's Superintendent Association.
I can't underscore how difficult it is being a school superintendent, and over the years it's become even more challenging.
Challenging because of what has become part of a larger state and national trend among executive school leadership, where their performance on campus is taking a backseat to politics.
We are not born with face coverings.
What began with controversies over COVID-19 and masks,
much of the content is not age appropriate,
has evolved into battles over book bans and curriculum.
It's been the most bizarre time in public education for several years.
Former Orange County Superintendent Dr. Barbara Jenkins just retired this past December after more than 10 years as head of one of the state's largest school districts.
The level of stress is beyond what they've ever experienced before. And it's a combination of things. It goes through to the pandemic and into school violence. Then it covers issues around materials and which books should be allowed on library shelves.
While Jenkins' exit was without controversy, pre-planned under the state's retirement program, several Florida superintendents, including in Sarasota, Broward, and Brevard counties, recently left after being booted out or encouraged to resign by a new wave of conservative school board members.
We have so many people that are just frustrated and want to reset and focus on education, and that's what we're going to get.
The injection of partisan politics in Florida classrooms, Jenkins fears, could have a lasting impact.
What I worry about is that we will frighten off some really talented young cabinet level individuals who should be the next wave of superintendents. I look forward to, there's such bright talent. And then I also have some concern that really well-intentioned board members will be frightened off from the job as well because of the attacks that come from one side or another.
They're tired of being political punching bags to the political climate that we're dealing with in Florida.
Democratic State Senator Chevron Jones is a former Florida teacher.
We're going to come to a place to where parents and teachers and administrators, they are sick of it.
At the end of this school year, several additional Florida school superintendents have already announced they'll be gone as the state's superintendent shuffle carries on.
I hope that we are past the worst of it for the turnover because we've moved now at least further away from the pandemic.
What do you say to superintendents who, quite frankly, are mulling over whether or not they should stay in a Florida school district?
What do I tell them? Hang in there, regardless of what Tallahatchie does. Let's do our very best to provide for those children.
Katie LaGrone, Fox 4.